Hi everyone and welcome to today's video, which is all about the 11 plus exam. Okay, now I know the 11 plus exam can be quite confusing. Like, what is it? What do we do? So the 11 plus exam is taken in year 6 and it's an entrance exam used by grammar schools and usually do it around September time. Now there's 4 main papers, okay, and this can vary from exam board to exam board. So make sure you check, is it like a CEM paper that you're doing or what you're meant to be doing? But usually the content is English, math, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning. And it's usually verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning that people aren't too sure about. So I'm going to cover all of that in today's video and show you some example papers as well. Okay, so usually as well about 80% is the pass mark, so you want to kind of aim for that across all your papers. Obviously different papers are weighted differently, so maths and English might be weighted differently than verbal and non-verbal reasoning for a certain score, or they might all be weighted the same, but we want to aim for about 80% in each paper. Now before we start, if this is something that your child is doing or the student themselves are doing and then you want a bit of help, I do offer one-to-one and group classes on 11 plus. So if you would like to do that, comment below or check out our Instagram, Succeed Services Tutoring, and you can message me directly there. Or we do have other contact options as well, whatever you feel most comfortable with, and we can get in on a free introductory call as well. And I kind of have this kind of plan laid out where we go through each paper individually and we do a mixture of our curriculum and our papers as well, because remember, your curriculum really does feed into this exam. It's basically what forms the basis for those exam materials as well. Okay, so what is the exam? We've got maths, English, verbal, and non-verbal. So let me take you through some examples. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you this really useful tool as well. You'll see here so you will see here that this is a really useful free tool. It's CGP Books and it has lots of free exam papers as well. So we have ones for GL and other test providers and CEM. So like I said, make sure you figure out which exam board the school you want to go to does. But we're going to focus on these for today. So the first one is verbal reasoning. Okay, this is what a verbal reasoning paper looks like. So you'll have 50 minutes and you've got to answer them all. And as you see, you kind of get marks for each score. So this is kind of what one would look like. Lots of different questions. If we go to our next one for non-verbal reasoning, this is what it will look like as well. So here we've got 30 minutes and we have to do all these questions. If we go back again, we go on to our maths, we have all these past papers. Questions here to do. We've got 50 minutes, and we've got a lot of mental math questions. And then in our English, we have this, so that again, you've got 50 minutes and you get a text and then you get questions, then another text and then questions as well. So if I stop sharing for a moment, so there you'll see an example of a test for each section. Okay, so let's start with English. How can I revise my 11 plus? Okay, well, English is all about your spelling, your punctuation, your grammar, and your knowledge of meanings of words and your ability to comprehend. So the way that I would suggest you revise is read, 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 read. You should be reading every day, okay? A range of books, fiction and non-fiction, not just books, articles, diaries, all different kind of text types, and set yourself some questions based off that text. Did you understand it? That's what reading comprehension means. It means, can you take a text, can you read it, and can you understand it and answer questions on it? Okay, and that's what the English test is about. It's you get a text and then you have questions based on it. Now, some of the questions are about inferring meaning. So it might be, what word do you think these groups of words is closest to, like which one matches the most? And that is about your knowledge of words, and you improve your vocabulary through reading. So that's why reading is really important. Also, it might be inferring kind of the meaning of words or kind of inferring emotions. So, what do you think this word means? Does it mean they feel this, this, this? And with that, I would definitely say it's more about kind of your understanding of kind of emotion. It's like that emotional intelligence. Do you understand people's emotions and what words we use to describe them? So, for English, you want to focus on your spellings, your reading comprehension, so reading a lot. You want to have a dictionary to hand and a thesaurus that will help you improve your vocabulary. Now, with maths, it's a lot of mental math. So you need to be able to do maths quickly in your head. So definitely practice on mental maths papers. Practice your adding, your subtracting, your multiplication, and your division. Work on for any of these papers, it's all kind of your year 5 and your year 6, well, your start of year 6 curriculum. So make sure you work through that. You use BBC Bite Size. And with maths as well, we can focus on, our kind of everyday kind of maths. So if you're in the shop, think about any multiplications or adding you can do. Think about using money for maths. Think about train times and things like that. Quite often they use questions on dates and times and arrival times or departure times. So think about when you're in your everyday life, what situations can you use to practice your maths? Okay, next we have our verbal reasoning. Verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning are all about patterns. Okay, can you spot a pattern and can you continue that pattern? So, quite often they'll give you kind of say 4 images of something and they'll say what will be next. Okay, they'll give you an option of 4 and they'll say pick the next one in the pattern. And this is all about can you interpret again? Okay, so think about can you identify differences? So play games like spot the difference. Can you look at 2 objects and say, well, 2 of them have shading, but this one has a different arrow to this one? Can you spot similarities and differences? Now, the difference between verbal and non-verbal is verbal has kind of all words, whereas non-verbal is more focused on shapes. With the verbal, it's really important that you look at the questions because quite often there's tips and tricks in the questions as well. So for our verbal and non-verbal, we want to focus on practicing patterns, revising patterns, playing games like spot the difference, and you can do that in your everyday life. You can have this really fun game where one person goes out of the room and then you move something and they have to come in and spot what's been moved. So that was a really quick introduction. We are going to do more videos on kind of deep diving into these papers. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see those as well. But if you have any comments or like I say, if you want to book an introductory call, make sure you comment below.